Hello and welcome to another edition of Nash Incorporated Reviews, and welcome to another edition of the rise and fall of Sonic the Hedgehog, where we see Sonic's rise to fame and fall into the pits of gaming hell. Well, it's finally time to do it. It's finally time to review Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Genesis. But first, we're going to look at one of the many spin-off titles, and then one of them is called Sonic Labyrinth. Oh god, many. Oh god, spin-off. Oh god, Labyrinth. Oh, that's not good. Oh well, we've got to do it. Anyway, how can it possibly fail? Well, with a name like Labyrinth and its title, well, there's every possible chance it could fail, but let's have a look anyway. Okay, here's the 1995 Game Gear title, Sonic Labyrinth. And wow, 5 seconds into this game and I'm already getting a headache. This is also another Sonic game with another stupid story. Have a look. Sonic slows down. Alone in his egg-shaped headquarters, the diabolical Dr. Robotnik paced and pondered. There must be a way to defeat that pesky Sonic the Hedgehog. No matter what I try, he always manages to outrun my traps. Wait a minute. He outruns my traps. He uses his fantastic speed to defeat my minions. What if I was to take his speed away? Dr. Robotnik, the man with an IQ of over 300, just figured out that a being with the nicknames the Blue Blah, invisible to the naked eye, the fastest thing alive, uses his great speed to foil his plans. No, really? Dr. Robotnik created a pair of harmless-looking boots that would slow the running speed of any creature that wears them. That doesn't make any sense. Unless it's like a Slim Jim suit where one size fits all. Then if it's that, then go ahead. Then Dr. Robotnik commanded one of his robots to sneak into Sonic's home and swap his normal sneakers with the boots. Why don't you just kill him? I know it's Sonic, but why don't you just point a gun to his head instead of, swapping out the sneakers? I'm just saying. Oh, and if you know where he lives, why don't you just drop a nuclear bomb on his ass? Again, I know it's Sonic, but still. The next morning, Sonic put the boots on without noticing anything was different. Until he tried to dash out the door. It was as if his feet were stuck to the ground. He could barely run. He tried to pull the boots off, but no matter how he struggled, they wouldn't come off. Then, through the window, he heard Dr. Robotnik's evil laughter. Wait a minute, are they suggesting that Robotnik actually waited throughout the night and then when Sonic woke up, tried on the boots and felt that he couldn't move? Then Robotnik peeped through the window and went, No. That's what they're saying. How do you like my new invention, Sonic? The only thing that can deactivate those boots is Chaos Emerald power, and the Chaos Emeralds are mine. Don't tell them, you idiot! The only way to find them is to make your way through my super labyrinth. And you can't stay in there long,
Without your famous speed, there's no way you can catch me.
What the hell is a super labyrinth? What is the difference between an ordinary run-of-the-mill labyrinth and a super labyrinth? Oh, and there's just one other thing, just a tiny thing. Why are you not killing him? He's right there, stuck. Why don't you just rip out his spinal cord and start hitting him with it? Or something less disgusting, but stop! Kill him! Kill him!
Sonic thought quickly. These boots keep my feet from moving fast, but they won't slow down my super spin dash. Alright, Robotnik, I'm coming after you.
This makes no sense.
Okay, if you're stuck on the ground, how are you expected to gain the momentum to roll? And if you can, why are you not dashing forward to Robotnik and cutting him in half? I've read the story, seen the title screen, and I've already got a headache. And we haven't even got to the game yet.
When you start the game, you are given some options. Most are self-explanatory, but there is something I have to explain about the time attack.
When you beat the time attack mode, you're given a code. This code is completely useless within the game. So what's it used for? Well, there was a contest when the game was first released. You are given a code when you beat the time attack. This code relates to a time, and the top 100 times would receive a fabulous prize. That's really cool. Play games, win prizes. Awesome. What's the downside? This contest was only available in Japan. So what we got was a completely useless number.
But the thing that confuses me about this screen is that you see Sonic on a cloud, and then he jumps off.
Huh, that's the first time I've ever had a game over without playing the game.
So when I first started this game, I noticed something right off the bat. I know it's not Sonic's walking speed, but I will get to that. It's that the sprites are somewhat of a resemblance to the ones used in Sonic Chaos. It could be that the sprites are modelled after Sonic Chaos, or that Sega changed them a little to make them look different, or it could just be a coincidence. You never know. Anyways, your objective is to collect the 3 keys lying about the level and get to the exit within the time limit. You can collect extra seconds by defeating enemies, which by the way magically respawn. So as you've already guessed, the only way to get about fast in this game is to spin dash. And here's where the biggest headache comes from. When you hold down the spin dash button, you can adjust the momentum that you build to perform the technique. However, spin dashing takes a lot of time to get used to, so you're gonna go all over the place when you first start. And trust me, I played this game for 4 hours straight. I could not get the hang of it. The enemies in this game are a random mess of things. You have prawn slugs, duck bins, spike walls, mechanical ghost skulls which don't fucking die. Yeah, just random. But the weirdest enemies in this game? Bubbles. Just bubbles.
You don't mess with the bubbles. They'll sting you in the eye and it'll hurt for 4 seconds. Remember people, bubbles are the enemy.
Enemies respawn when you leave the general area. Now, it's kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's not actually a bad thing, as you can get a few seconds to add to your time. So in theory, you can hit an enemy, quickly roll away, quickly roll back, and hit the enemy again. Rinse and repeat. In theory. In reality, hitting enemies in this game is harder than it looks. This is because this is more of an isometric playing field rather than a true 3D effect. Okay, it's kind of hard to explain, but let's look at it this way. Let's say this field here is my playing area. I want to create the illusion of 3D, so I have to make something that covers the entire square. So what I have to do is make an enemy that covers the 4 corners of this square and its lines. Therefore, if I stand anywhere here, I get hit. This isn't true 3D, but it's a simple effect that makes it seem like it's 3D. But in the game, the enemies appear to be flat squares, so while they appear to look plump, in actual fact they are as thin as paper, hence why I'm not dying right now. Any kind of damage you receive will cost you time, because in this game you can't be killed by enemy attacks, but if you're holding any keys, then they'll jump to different corners of the field. You just gotta be really lucky that they don't go somewhere you can't get. To aid you on your quest, you have power-ups in the form of randomly changing arrows, for some reason, and depending on the arrow you collect determines the power-up. Oh, you have gotta be kidding me.
It's like Epilepsy, the video game.
The levels for the most part are just boring. Apart from maybe one or two, they are pretty straightforward. It's not really helped by the fact that if you pause the game, you can look around the field. Not that I needed to. The only levels that I'd say that this came in handy are the ones that feel like the true labyrinth stages. The ones that feel like you're in the middle of a maze. The problem with that is that the ability to pause and look around is almost useless, as these stages have doors that you can enter that take you all around the level.
I mean, going through different doors, trying to find your way out of this maze, I thought it was a pretty good idea. It captured the true essence of what a labyrinth is. Unfortunately, this was also something that gave me a headache.
The problem is that by the time I got to these levels, I was already annoyed with the bullshit in this game. And the fact that you're against the clock meant I was extremely frustrated, which in turn made me do a lot of silly mistakes, which got me even more frustrated, which meant I failed to memorise where the doors led, which made me even more frustrated!
I'm not somebody that loses their cool easily at a game, but Jesus Christ. This game is like the ultimate test of patience. That goes against everything a game stands for. Games are meant to be fun. Fun! Fun! I'm not having fun!
This game is just extremely unfair. At times it just seems to invent ways to piss you off.
You see?
But the biggest piss take was this level right here. This level was so bad it started to fuck around with my capturing device.
And no joke, this is where my caption device started to die.
Anyways, I needed to collect a key on the other side. Problem is that the platform blows up. Of course it does. There are two warp pads, but these are just red herrings as they warp to each other. That's exactly what I needed right now, something to piss me off and waste my time. I even tried the desperate tactic and dash across, but you can already guess how that ended. So how do you get across? Well, you have to wait in this exact spot for 3 seconds and wait for a platform to appear.
This is something that you must do to complete the game. It's not something you're given a clue about. Fuck this game.
The fourth act of each zone is always the boss, but first you must roll down this hill to collect rings. It's also possible to collect 100 rings for an extra life, meaning just as long as you keep getting the extra life, you can keep retrying the boss as many times as you like.
Oh, goody.
When you enter the boss room, you are met with some enemies or obstacles that you need to avoid. Usually there's a simple way to dodge them, like this part here where you can just simply move to another part of the room. When the smaller guys are done, the big guy appears. I should also mention that the boss levels are the only time you can be killed by enemies. The first boss doesn't require that much thought process, just keep attacking and that's pretty much it. The second boss is a bit tricky. You have to wait until a shell opens to attack him. The problem with this boss is that these platforms were obviously meant to be connected together. It just doesn't make sense that they're not. The third boss is a spiked wall with wheels attached.
Whatever.
This boss is easy. Just move to another platform when he goes backwards, and then when it moves forward, spin dash his ass. Oh, and whenever you defeat a boss, they drop one of the Chaos Emeralds.
The fourth and final boss is Robotnik. I wonder what fiendish contraption he has built this time. Surely something devilish to take advantage of my lack of speed. Oh, I wonder what it could be.
What the fuck is that?
Could I even compare that to anything else? I mean, I'm a guy who mocked the jetpack in Triple Trouble, but now, my god, I take that all back. And before you say, wow, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, keep watching.
This boss is just pathetic. It's really bad when I can use my current speed to dodge incoming bombs. When he launches a bomb, he for some reason lowers himself that you can hit him. And when you've dealt enough damage, this happens.
What is that?
And if that's not bad enough, his drill is a laser beam. I am never going to be able to use that line again. And really, it's just the same thing. Only he's a little faster, but it doesn't matter. You can still dodge him by walking. When whatever the fuck that is finally croaks it, you are given another Chaos Emerald. Then we see Robotnik drop another Chaos Emerald.
This guy can outrun Sonic at any given time, but when it comes to the Chaos Emeralds, whoops, butterfingers.
Sonic then collects the emerald and runs out the labyrinth.
Well, I don't know about you, but me, I'd hit Robotnik over the head with a large blunt object. But, oh well. And if you haven't noticed, Sonic never takes his boots off. What, did he get used to it or something? But, fuck it, oh well. Yay! I completed the game! Yay! Wait a minute. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. 4 emeralds collected from the bosses. 1 dropped by Robotnik. There's 6 Chaos Emeralds. Oh god. The game's gonna tell me I suck, isn't it?
Congratulations. All zones clear. Oh, okay, maybe I was just being paranoid. Son of a bitch!
You know what? I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed. Oh well. Here we go again.
So anyways, at the end of the credits you are given a super awesome code, and it tells you where to use it, but not specifically where to use it. It also says Fuji 1 Go, which means nothing to me. Okay, here's the deal with the code. First you have to head to Zone 2 or Act 3 and head into this cannon. Then you punch in the code and instead of where you normally go, you'll head to a button. Press it, then make your way to the door marked bonus. In this place, one single ring is worth 25 rings, so it's an awesome way to build up your lives. But the thing that bothered me is, I could not find that damn emerald anywhere. I tried 5 times to find it, covering the field at least 2 times over, but it was nowhere to be found. So I once again had to look for a clue online. You're not gonna believe this.
You are automatically given the emerald when you enter the bonus stage, without any notification whatsoever. Why not just tell me? 5 simple little words. You have the emerald. Dickhead.
And then it's just a simple case, well, I say simple, of getting through the rest of the labyrinth again and beating well, what the fuck that thing is, again.
So now the good ending. I've gone through this painful, stressful experience twice. Surely, the ending must be. I'm not surprised. I'm just filled with murderous rage!
That Sonic Labyrinth. Okay, honestly, it's not downright horrible. At best it's average, but it's just a very frustrating game. It likes to trick you in so many ways that it's just almost cruel at times. And add to that the annoying music and the headache-inducing effects, and you have an annoying mess of a game. Like I said, it's not horrible, but you do deserve better.
But let's stop to think about this for a second. Sonic slowed down? That's a terrible idea! It was always doomed to fail. It's like painting the fence with your ass. Might sound like a good idea, but the splinters remind you it's not.
Hang on. When does painting the fence with your ass ever sound like a good idea?
I was drunk and trying to impress a girl.
Oh. Did it work?
No. But if that didn't impress her, then... Besides, I couldn't sit down for 2 weeks afterwards. Felt like I was sitting on nails, or broken glass, or even sitting on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Oh, clever segue.
With Nintendo holding a grip on the console market for almost 15 years at a time, followed by an overwhelming fan base, having established titles such as The Legend of Zelda, Metroid and the Super Mario Bros., and in front of it all was the tiny mushroom-eating, fireball-throwing, turtle-stomping, princess-rescuing plumber named Mario, the main mascot of Nintendo, and one of the biggest icons of all time. It seemed like nothing would stop Nintendo. So when Sega decided to challenge Nintendo with the 16-bit monster known as the Genesis/Mega Drive, they really had an uphill mountain to climb. After all, Nintendo had Reputation and their mascot Mario. Sega knew Reputation was not going to happen overnight, but a new, edgy, cooler mascot could do the trick. A rebellious dude with attitude. That dude's name was Sonic the Hedgehog. This began the war between Nintendo and Sega. With the early release of the Genesis over the Super Nintendo and the success of the first Sonic game, as well as having this cool and fresh new image thanks to Sonic, Sega was on a roll. But with Nintendo now in the 16-bit race with the Super Nintendo and with the release of Super Mario World, Sega needed to keep the momentum going. Meanwhile, the fans were crying out for a sequel to Sonic 1. Sega answered.
Yep, it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, while Sonic the Hedgehog 2 actually came out after Sonic CD, this was the game that really mattered to Sega. And after all, Nintendo was catching up and the Sega CD was not doing as well as Sega had hoped it would. This was the game that was gonna either make or break, win or lose, do or die, CM Punk or John Cena, Leona Lewis or Rebecca Black, Slayers next or Slayers try. This was it. This was the game that was gonna either do it for them or kill them trying. This is Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
The hype for this one was huge. Sega put forward a lot of money for the advertising campaign. Everyone saw how fast this game was. Even though most of the time, if not all of the time, the commercial showed us the Sonic 2 beta version and not the final game. Still, we looked on with anticipation, and the more anticipated we were, the nuttier the commercials got.
Sonic 2 handles stubborn stains, embarrassing bald spots, no problem. It even slices and dices, makes thousands of julienne fries. But wait, you can play it too. This free Sonic 2 is a $54.99 value. You get 2 Sonics for the price of 1. Sonic 2 fits easily into any tackle box.
Yeah, some of them were fucking weird.
Family fun, and pets love it too.
Sega released this game worldwide, which wasn't exactly common at the time, but with some regions getting it a few days later, with the American and European releases on the 24th of November 1992, which was a Tuesday. So Sega, the clever minds that they are, called that day Sonic Tuesday. Either you had wonderful flashbacks to that day, or that pun just killed you a little inside. Sonic 2 was Sega's first and last chance. This wasn't just a gamble. Sega had to make this game not just a success, but it also had to live up to the enormous hype. More than any other game that Sega has created, this was the most important and crucial game ever.
Did it pay off? Well, let's have a look.
Not wanting to start off on a bad note, but I do have some problems right off the bat. First is the location of the options menu. Where is it? You have to press down from where the 2-player mode is.
Okay, first off, why does it need to be hidden in the first place? It's not like it's a cheat or anything. I mean, it's options. Why couldn't they have it below the 2-player mode? It just doesn't make any sense.
There's really not much in the way of options here. You can decide to go Sonic with Tails, Sonic without Tails, or even Tails by himself. There's also another option to change the item boxes in the 2-player mode to teleport only. I'll explain what that is later, but right now let me just say, oh god. And finally, a sound test. This also serves as a cheat code device.
Now, I won't go into all of the cheats, I mean, they pretty much explain themselves. But what I will go into is the needlessly complex way to put them in.
Here's how you do the level select in Sonic 1. You press up, down, left, right, and then start and A at the same time. That took 4 seconds at the most. Here's how you do it in Sonic 2. You go to the sound test option and then select a certain order of sounds and tunes. If you've done it right, then you'll hear a ring sound effect. Then you go out to the title screen, wait for the game menu options to appear, and on the Player 1 mode, hit start and A at the same time. There's your level select. This took a minute.
Oh, come on, what is with the dickish way of entering the code like this? Why not just a simple sequence of buttons like in Sonic 1? I can understand keeping the code cryptic, so it's not an easy guess, but this is just a waste of time. Come on.
But what do I think of the game itself? It's good. It's really good. This game is a lot of fun to play. This game, maybe even more than Sonic 1, gives off that feeling of speed due to the amount of times that Sonic looks like he'll break the sound barrier while the screen is desperately trying to catch up with you. So definitely a thumbs up for that. But my favourite thing about this game is that another player can take control at any time, and just as long as Tails is there, that second player can take control. You don't even need to worry about lives, as Tails is like Kenny from South Park. He can die, but 5 seconds later he'll reappear. This also happens if he falls behind and disappears off screen, so there's no need to worry about. The bosses are a mixed bag. Some, like the first boss, are really cool to look at, but are way too easy. But then you have some that are challenging but look silly. I want to know the thought process of the guy who said, "Let's stick a fucking hammer in front of the Eggmobile." I'm also deeply confused by this boss. Its main attack is to suck up water and just pour it over you. You may be able to say, well, the level is called Chemical Plant and maybe the water is harmful, but I was in it earlier in the level.
And it hasn't done me any damage.
Now, just like in Sonic 1 and Sonic CD, once you hold 50 rings you can enter a special stage, but this time rather than a giant ring at the end of the stage, you can enter it by passing through a star post with 50 rings or more. A portal will now open and all you need to do is jump into it. With that, you are transported to a rather cool looking 3D environment where Sonic and Tails has to run down a long corridor and collect a certain amount of rings along the way. This is where having a second player can come in handy, as the AI mostly has a delay when following you. Worse still is when the AI gets in front of you, which means Tails starts to collect the rings, which means he can easily lose them when hitting into bombs along the way. Oh, and you can jump which switches the order that you're in, but you can't use this as Tails jumps as well. So to avoid getting pissed off, get a friend to help you. Just before you get to the checkpoint, you are warned about how many rings, if any, you still need to collect. If you have enough rings, you can go through the checkpoint onto the next section. Any spare rings are brought forward, so be as greedy as possible. If you don't manage to collect the required amount of rings in time, then you have to start the special stage from scratch. The good news is that you have a lot of chances throughout the game to collect the Chaos Emeralds, as there are a lot of star posts, so if you fail, you have a lot of time to get it done before the final showdown. In fact, the first time playing this game, I got 3 out of the 7 Chaos Emeralds on the very first stage, so you have a lot of shots to do it in. And as they say, practice makes perfect.
Wait, 7 emeralds? I thought there was only 6.
Ah, well, let me explain, my dear fellow. It just sort of appeals.
Oh. I thought with that way you had a sudden pause, the story would have been a bit deeper.
No, just appears. It's just there someday. And then, yeah.
Like magic?
Like magic.
Makes sense, I guess.
No, it doesn't.
You acquire this legendary 7th Chaos Emerald the same way as the rest of them, but this time when you successfully obtain the required amount of rings, the sky will go all colourful and you will have in your possession the last Chaos Emerald.
Oh, for God damn it, does it still need to blind me?
After that, you get your normal screen tallying up all your points from the last special stage, but this time it says that Sonic has collected all the Chaos Emeralds. But then a little message shows up, saying that Sonic can now transform into...
He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe!
Well, change Man and Hedgehog around and yeah, it's pretty much that. Wow, Super Sonic? Alright, at last, a true reward.
Okay, I've mostly danced around this issue beforehand, but now it's time to tackle it head on. I'm talking about the reward for collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds. When you are pretty much asked by the game to do this, you should get something good for all of your hard work. Look at 8-Bit Sonic 2. You're given an extra zone, an extra final boss, and even the slightly altered ending, all in one. It made the Chaos Emeralds worth collecting. But now, let's look at the other games. Sonic Chaos's reward? Shite. Sonic Triple Trouble's reward? Shite. Sonic CD's reward? Equally as shite.
But finally, after so many games, I am finally gonna get a true reward for collecting the Chaos Emeralds. Oh, I can't wait to see this.
Okay, first we need 50 rings. And seeing how this is a casino level... Oh god, a casino level.
Okay, before transforming, I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here. I hate any level that involves going slow. It just doesn't fit Sonic. It goes against its whole nature. This includes the labyrinth stage, and it definitely includes the casino stage. you're able to enter these slots, and when you do, you can have the possibility of collecting 2 whole rings! Wow! God, no! Why the hell would I want to do that? Just a waste of time. And yeah, I know you can collect more rings, and yes, you can collect 100 rings, which would allow you to transform into Supersonic. But the possibility of getting even above 10 rings in a minute? No chance. But at least the only reason why I'm not running away from these slots right now is to collect 50 rings to turn into Supersonic. You fucking bastard.
Actually, the pinball section kinda pisses me off as well. Again, there's no point to it. Mostly you're just gonna skip it and then move forward. If only they had done something like you get prizes for hitting various things on the table to win, then yeah, okay, maybe I could see that, but otherwise, it's pointless. Alright, it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for Supersonic. After collecting the 50 rings necessary, all you have to do now is jump. Oh yeah, now this is a reward. As Supersonic, you can go faster, jump higher, and more of our enemies like you are the ultimate lawnmower. Hell, even Robotnik is powerless against you, but you have to give him credit for seeing his army being wiped out in seconds, yet still saying, "Bring it on, you glowing ass bastard."
I seem to be saying ass a lot in this review.
Just be very careful not to fall into this trap, and especially if you're holding a lot of rings. If you do, you have to wait until Sonic changes back to normal to die. And if Tails falls in as well, you'll have to hear this every 3 seconds. There's really only one thing wrong with Supersonic. When you hold 50 rings and jump, even if you don't want to, you transform into Supersonic anyways.
Now don't get me wrong, this isn't a huge problem, it's only a minor little thing. But that's the problem with this game, the minor little things. There's tons of them, and when you all pile them together, it creates one big problem.
Let's look at the first level. Yes, it's luscious, vibrant, colourful, but it's also bland and nothing much is going on in the background. Now look at Sonic 1's opening level. The same, luscious, vibrant, colourful, but it's also very detailed. And there's also a lot of things happening in the background, including the waterfalls, the clouds. It just looks magnificent.
Just like when meeting somebody for the first time, first impressions are everything. That's why in a game, the first level and the last level are usually the most detailed, to draw you in and then leave you with an awesome climax as a setting. It's just one of those things that you know, but you never really notice.
With Sonic 2's opening level, I was disappointed, especially with the excellent Green Hill Zone in Sonic 1. I expected more. The level design has improved, though I won't say it's by a lot, but there are more levels than in Sonic 1. There are 11 different zones, each with 2 acts, with the exception being the 8th zone, which has 3 acts, and zones 9, 10 and 11, which have 1 act each.
I'm not sure why the 8th zone has a 3rd act, but maybe they had one spare. I'm not complaining or anything, I mean, it's more game to play. Yay!